your understanding of maybe the mandatory situations? When will the governing bodies look to enforce mandatories? Will they delay the amount of times which was originally scheduled between mandatories being called? What's your knowledge on it?
I would think, as with everything during this period, which is like a force majeure, which we have in a lot of our deals, be it venues, fighters, etc. They have to work along the same sort of lines, and I think they have as well in delaying any mandatory discussions, any purse bids, etc. Because you can't enforce something while it's not possible. So I think the only difficulty they have is obviously they're looking on a global scale. Promoters can promote fights all around the world. So they have to look at it as a view of, in one country who can put on an event, but this guy in the other country or this company in another country can't. They have to have a view for all of their promoters, obviously. So, I'd hope they'd come out probably when there's more clarity on the situation and be able to say, right, mandatories are delayed by X period. And if they could all work together, it'd be much easier.
That can be said for a lot of things in boxing, Frank. Just to move away from that then, and just to get your thoughts on a few other things. Obviously, you had the Joshua Purewal fight, which had been announced and had also been postponed. When boxing returns, one thing that I've seen a lot of people saying over social media is, because of this layoff that we've seen, a lot of fighters, and I'm not just talking about, Joshua's, the Furies, the Wilders, across all divisions, a lot of fighters should just look to get in there and face the best of the best in their weight categories. Do you think that once we return, the fighters themselves will feel like, right, we have to do it now, we have to make up for this lost time?
Yeah, for sure. I think fighters, well, I do think also fighters generally do want to do that, but there's other things standing in the way. I think this will bring everyone together in terms of, we want to make the biggest fights, and as soon as possible, we want to deliver the biggest fights. But at the same time, you also have to abide by contracts. So it's easy for fans to say, do this, do that, you should do this, you should do that, but there's a lot that goes into it behind the scenes as well.
Just a word on contracts. With obviously any agreed fights that were in place and were signed, how exactly will it work when boxing returns? Are those contracts expected to be honoured, or do they have to be redrafted? What's kind of the situation there?
It depends on the contract itself. Everyone's different. Everyone has different terms. Some are that if a fight doesn't take place, then it won't happen, or you have the option for it to happen, or there's variations of it. Some are you just have to reschedule it at a later date as soon as possible, and the government allow you to, and normal business practices are up and running. So yeah, all different as per each contract, really.
So touch on that heavyweight division, as I mentioned. Obviously, we mentioned Joshua Purewal. When boxing returns, will that fight still go ahead, or will it be try to negotiate the undisputed fight if the Wilder Fury fight doesn't happen again? Where does that kind of leave everything?
Yeah, there's been obviously a lot of talk around that fight, that between Joshua and Fury. There's a lot of things that would need to be worked out in order to make that fight happen next. As you say, Wilder's obviously got his rematch clause, which he has said he wants to take. Understandably, he wants to try and win his belt back. And at the same time, Joshua's got a fight with Pulev signed. I'm not saying it's completely impossible that anything could ever, be done and agreed between people. But right now, Fury is fighting Wilder and Joshua is obviously fighting Pulev. So as the situation goes on, we'll keep looking at what can be done, but that's the plan.
What did you make of Deontay Wilder's comments that he didn't feel like Fury was the world champion because they've still got another fight lined up?
Well, Fury's got the belts. He's the champion. It's like when Joshua lost to Ruiz. Ruiz was the world champion. So Fury did it. You can't take it. You can't take anything away from him. I don't know whether seen some of the comments recently, but Wilder can't take anything away from what Fury did. He went in there in the first fight, arguably won the fight, didn't get the decision. Second fight, he went in there and shocked everyone again. He shocked me. I didn't think he was going to win, but he does it time and time again. So yeah, you can't take that away from him. He's the champion of the world for one of the belts.
Just to move away from that heavyweight division, man, and onto the super middleweights, it'll be now. Obviously, Canelo, Billy Joe Saunders was there. By all accounts, it had been signed, just ready to be announced. And then a matter of days after all of that would have been agreed, lockdown and postponements and everything come into play. Since then, obviously, Billy Joe Saunders had his license suspended. Where does the land lie again with that fight? Do you anticipate that will happen in the future? What have British Boxing Board of Control said about Billy's licence?
Yeah, Billy's got a ongoing discussion with the British Boxing Board of Control that I'm sure will be sorted very soon, and that's for him to deal with. On when it comes to the Canelo fight itself, as you say, it was I think it was about 8 hours away from getting announced, and then everything, with the COVID situation delayed that, and currently, that fight's agreed and it's there, but as we say, when we go back to contracts, it depends on whether it can be rescheduled or not, or do they go into another fight separately. So currently, that fight's still possibly there, but we got to wait and see what happens, as with a lot of things with this situation.
Obviously, just to touch on Canelo, I heard a few rumours, seen a few rumours that he was looking to face Golovkin in September. Obviously, I don't know how that would kind of work with Billy Joe Saunders, or if he was to face somebody else. What's your understanding of the situation, man? I know you don't promote Canelo, but with his work with DAZN, you'll have kind of some form of a relationship there. Do you anticipate Canelo will look to still face Billy Joe, or do you think he will look towards the trilogy with Golovkin, or maybe another name in the division?
I think it's too early to say, to be honest. I think, Golovkin was supposed to have a fight with Sarah Mehta as well. Canelo was supposed to fight Billy Joe Saunders. So it's too early to say, I think. The deal between Canelo and Golovkin isn't done. So, there's still a possibility that the Billy Joe and Canelo fight could happen.
And obviously, after Texas, we saw Mikey Garcia's victory over Jesse Vargas, and there was a lot of talk then about a possible Manny Pacquiao fight taking place in Saudi Arabia. Up until obviously the point of lockdown, whereabouts did any of those discussions or negotiations get to?
Yeah, we were obviously working on that, as Eddie said, but that's all sort of with everything that's going on. It was all the same period really. After Mikey won his fight at the end of February, as you say, it started to, it wasn't serious before, but everyone started to understand the severity of the COVID situation, and that sort of delayed any further talks on it. So that's there's no update really on that one.
Is there any discussions or anything since then, brief or just small talks about how that could kind of play out?
Nothing yet. We're, again, because there's no plan to go with, even in Saudi Arabia, there's no sort of, we can't say, we can go to Saudi and we're going to be able to do an event in August there, because they still don't know. Everyone, I think, is aligned on, as soon as things can get back to normal safely, it will. But right now, to have talks about it, I think it's too early.
Frank, before I do leave you to enjoy the rest of your day, obviously you mentioned you're in lockdown with Emily. How are you finding it? Just being having the two of you together.
Do you know what? I thought she would leave me by the end of this, to be honest. But somehow I've managed to be all right, and she still loves it. I think she prefers me now, to be honest. I do think there's something to be said about taking away the pressures of traveling and non-stop. Boxing's obviously a 24/7 business. Sort of with that quieting down, it probably makes other things easier, so the home life easier. But no, it's been good. It's been good. As I say, I've done all the cooking. We've probably got it a bit easy that we don't have kids, because I can see everyone homeschooling is starting to struggle again now with the kids back at school. I don't think most parents understand what they're trying to teach the kids, to be honest.
With every word you said there, Frank, I can see you looking over your shoulder.
She's got a knife in her hand at the minute, so I'm always quite scared. She's currently preparing the carrots and other bits of food for me to cook and season.
It's all right, Frank. You've got a witness if anything was to happen.
She just called me an arsehole as well at the same time.
Frank, have you had any visits from senior at all?
No senior visits. It's been social distancing. But actually, I haven't seen anyone. So no, I haven't heard from him either. He sent me a few texts.
What's he said to you?
I can't remember. I think there was a couple of poems he sent me.
Can you recite them for us?
I can't. I can. I'd be making it up if I did.
One thing I always wanted to ask you was, when was the first time you met Senior? What exactly were you doing at the time?
I think it was at the same time. Actually, the first time I met him was we did a Michael Watson dinner for charity. So we raised money for Michael Watson. I met him there, but literally I was making the teas back then, so I don't think he'd remember me. And then I met him when we signed Chris Eubank and he fought Tony Jetta in Sheffield, and that's when I met Emily and pestered her to go on a date with me. But I don't think he realised I was going out with her for about 3 years, to be honest.
So when was the first time you were introduced to Senior as Emily's better half?
Emily's better half. To be honest, it was all more mixed because we were working together at the same time. So again, I don't know at what point he realised I was her boyfriend or not, whether she told him. It's hard to remember. We don't talk too much about boxing though when we're together. It's best to keep that separate.
You never know, Frank. He still may not know about you together. He might just.
I think he realises now. He came round my house, unless he just thinks we're friends and she's living with me.
Frank, as I say, it's been a pleasure to catch up with you. I will leave you to enjoy the rest of your day and get on with your cooking. Before I let you go, what would you like to say to everybody who will tune in and watch this interview?
Stay at home, stay safe. We'll be back soon, and looking forward to getting back to it. Thanks for the time, mate.
Appreciate that, Frank. That's brilliant.
Cheers, mate.
That's one. Look after yourself, and obviously, as you said, hopefully we'll see you soon enough.
You too, mate. Catch up soon.